John, go ahead and do this, John.
Namo Fundamental Teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Fundamental Teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Fundamental Teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. The unsurpassed, deep, profound, subtle, wonderful Dharma. In 100,000 million eons, it's difficult to encounter. Though that I come to receive and hold it within my sight and hearing, I vow to develop and thus come one true and natural meaning.
Good, thank you. So last week, I think we finished with the 1 to 2. Let's see, with that. Okay, we finished the sutra called Kula Sakaka, right? This is when we learn about the 5 etiquette, the wrong view, and also the right view. Okay. So we know that the right view here is the 5 aggregate. That means the form, the feeling, the perception, the mental formation, and the consciousness. It's, well, let me see. This is the right model. Okay. Anyway, it's inconstant, right? Because it's impermanent. Therefore, when we attach to this, myself, I, or my, is very stressful. Therefore, so the 5 etiquette should there is not myself, I, or what I am I, right? That I think that's what it says. Because we have no power to say that this feeling it should be like this or should be like that, right? Or even though the physical form, or even though the perception, we cannot control those things, right? Therefore, to come back to here, I think this is better model. So this is the right discernment. That means the form is not it's not myself, it's not what I am. Why? Because I cannot say that the form have to be live forever. No, that means the body, the form, that means the body cannot live forever, right? So therefore, and the feeling, right? We cannot say that the feeling should be like this, not like that. No, we cannot say that because it keeps changing. Therefore, they're not myself, they're not what I am. The thinking, that means the perception, right? And also, all this thing here, they do have the 3 periods, the past, the present, and the future. That means, for example, my past body, or my current body, or my future body, or my past feeling, or my current feeling, it's me, it's myself, it's what I am. No, it's not, because we cannot control those things. Therefore, it's not myself, it's not what I am. The thinking, the same thing, right? Even though the past thinking, a lot of people that mean the old people, right? They always live with the perception. I mean, the past perception, that means the past memory, right? They cannot be able to remember. They don't live at the current moment. Then they do not think about the future, but they only live in the past. So that's why the Buddha said that those things is illusion. They are not real. Therefore, it's not myself. It's not what I am. If we attach to this thing, we will suffer. That's why the Buddha said, do not attach to this thing. So basically, this will help us to be free from our attachment, free from our suffering. Okay. Anybody have any questions so far before we move on? Tammy, you understand it clearly?
Yes, I understand.
You understand? Okay, that's good. So This is important. Mm. So try not to attach any kind of attachment. The end result will be suffer. That's why an arahat, one whose mental influence are ended, who have reached fulfillment, done the task, lay down the burden, attain the true goal, lay to waste the feather. The feather, that means the 10 feather. We learned about this 10 feather many times already. So what kind of achievement they have? So they reach full fulfillment. That means they are no longer, they all end all the suffering. They end the death and rebirth cycle. That means they are free from all suffering. And that is done, they done with all the tasks. And they lay down the burden of suffering in the death and birth cycle. That's what is the burden. Then they attain the true goal. This is what the true goal means, right? It's more than that, but this is basically, this is the whole idea of Buddhism. Try to be free from attachment and see things at ease, right? See things at ease. Usually we don't see things at ease. We only attach. That's why we don't see it at ease. Yeah. Okay. I don't want to go through this thing too much because we already know much about this. Do you have any question about the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path? I think I talked about this many times, I guess. Hammy, you understand this thing clearly?
Yes, I understand.
Okay. So no need to go back, right? Okay. Now I will walk you because we learn about the ignorant quite a bit, right? So it's enough for us to understand, right? And today I will after I walk you through the 12 link dependent origination, and I will share you the 62 wrong view. This is one of the important sutra that help us to have the right view, to help us to have the wisdom. Okay, so in the Eightfold Path, right, the right view is the first one, the four most important. If we don't have the right view, of course, we do not have the right intention, or we call the right contemplation, right? And everything down here, it will be false, right? No right, and that means false, right? So the right view is the most important, right? To understand the Buddha teaching, to understand the law of cause and effect, and to have to see things at ease, right? That is the right view. Okay. This thing here is similar to this thing, but I just want to, you know what? Just give me 1 second. I think it's a good idea. I make a copy of that. So let me copy this. Okay, hold on. Let me put it here so we can go back and forth easier. Okay. Okay. So basically, in the 12 link, right? This is just like the train. It will shackle us, right? Because they shackle us, that's why we suffer. Ignorance and mental formation, this is belong to the past life, right? So due to our ignorance, what we have learned so far, that means we do not understand the Buddhist teaching. That means lacking of understand the Buddhist teaching, and also like the Four Noble Truths, the Eightfold Path, something like that, right? And also the 12 interdependent origination. And we also have the wrong view. Wrong view is a part of the ignorance. And ignorant also mean in the consciousness world, right? That means the eight consciousness, the mana consciousness represent for the ignorant because the self attached to the self. Let me show you. So here, so the mana consciousness, we have self-delusion, self-view, self-pride, self-love. So tell me, you understand this, right? I repeat many times, I guess.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. So this one is the most troublemaker. All the suffering we have come from here. Okay, that's why the mana consciousness also have another name called emotional affliction. I did not put in here. I should put in here. But anyway. So due to the ignorance, we break karma. Mental formation, what kind of karma we have? Karma in Buddhism, it means action. Action of the mind, action of the mouth, and action of the body. So these three actions here, that create 10 good deeds or 10 bad deeds. Doesn't matter it's good karma or bad karma, it's still karma. As long as we have karma, we still stuck in this cycle. Does it make sense to you, Tammy? Why the good karma?
Yes.
Why the good karma still in the cycle? Why?
Because you haven't gotten to, you're not in balance. So you're still producing karma, but at least you're not producing negative karma.
Okay, thank you, William. I have a question. The mental formation, it means karma. Karma could be good or bad, right? But the bad karma, that means we in the cycle. That's okay. That means we still stuck in the death and rebirth cycle. That understandable. What about the good karma? Do we be able to escape the cycle?
No.
Why not?
No, the good karma could be just as much of a hindrance or even more generally than sometimes. It's variable, right? Because suffering that comes from bad karma can be the seed of liberation. That can be that's like the first step to breaking the 12 links, is like acknowledging suffering.
Right. Okay.
If we have such good karma that we're completely blessed, that we may just want to enjoy our karma. And they're heavenly beings that live for a really long time, and they never think about practicing because they don't have any reason to. They just are happy and enjoying themselves all the time.
If you say like that, what about the one who reach Arahant? They have the ultimate happiness. That happiness is different from this happiness.
Yes, yeah, because the happiness that comes from good karma is dependent upon continued actions to continually have good karma, and it's going to be temporary. It's going to be based upon that good karma remaining. But typically, it seems that at some point, if we generate a lot of good karma, usually at some point people stop doing that and they just coast on their blessings, and then when their blessings run out, they can fall into lower realms, or then they haven't practiced at all either, so they may commit faults and generate bad karma. And Arhat won't generate any more bad karma because they have let go of identification with the source of generating bad karma, which is the self-delusion. So I'd say yes, it's very different.
Okay. The reason we still have the mind of creating karma because we live in the duality, right? We live in the world of duality. That means our mind is duality. Does it make sense?
Mm-hmm.
When we have the mind of duality, what does that mean? That means that comes from the false thought, right? It not come from the true thought. Come from the false thought. when any kind of thought arise, because you need to have thought to create good karma, right? Any kind of thought arise, that is duality. If duality, that means they not yet liberate from the death, and they are not yet enlightened, right? To the arhat. That's important. So the arhat, they already so they always live in the mindfulness state, right? They never have any kind of thought. I mean, delusional thought. They see things at ease. Remember last time, I think you were not in the yesterday class with the Lotus Sutra, right? Here, you see this thing here. This is the brain, right? The mind consonant, and the 5 sense consonant. It's connect to the brain, and the eye contact the form, the ear contact the sound. This contact right here, we call the direct knowledge, or direct direct knowledge. What do you understand? What is the direct knowledge, William?
I think it means that it's not involving any sort of analysis, deductions, speculation. It simply is what it is, and we, perceive it directly.
That mean when we say the contact is the direct knowledge, that means the mind is absent. That means it will become the non-judgmental, not judgmental, right? Non-judgmental. That means the mind will be absent. Just like when we sit for the meditation, right? When things come up, we try to bring our attention back to the inhale and exhale. The more we do that, and once our mind becomes very subtle and very calm, right? All the contact is no longer involved with the mind consciousness. That means no more monkey mind. You see that? That's important, because this is the way we think as is. And that means we don't input anything in here. And when we don't have the information for the mind consciousness, therefore the mana consciousness also have no information to upload or download from the alaya consciousness. This is important, right? And that's why in the Zen tradition, or in the Chan tradition, Chinese they call Chan, Japanese they call Zen, right? Actually, it's meditation. Tradition, they say that when we see things, we do not have. If there is no. When we see things, we see at ease. That means no. We call it non-judgmental. That means nothing. No activity from the mind. And that is the way that we can about to see our own Buddha nature. That is the beginning of the technique to see your own Buddha nature. So the Buddha nature, it comes from the 6th sense right here. That means include the mind, if you want to see it, and that it also comes from here. Is that clear, Tammy?
Yes, that's clear.
Okay, I think we talked about this a few times. Okay. Okay, before I walk you through the circle of this thing, I want to make sure that we understand the difference between the mind consciousness and the mana consciousness. The difference is very important. Once we understand the difference, and we will see the power of the consciousness only here. very powerful. William, can you tell me the difference between the two?
Between the mind and the mana?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So the mind consciousness it's integrating the senses, and it doesn't have, in and of itself, doesn't have a sense of self. It's the mana's consciousness has this sense of self with everything that goes along with it, preferring the views that come from the mind, and being very proud of those views, loving those views, or anything that it associates with. So the mana's consciousness really depends upon the mind consciousness in order to get the information from the senses passes through the mind consciousness, and then the manas is going to grasp onto different things based upon what it identifies with. And it's the go-between between the mind consciousness and the alaya consciousness, so that it's information that comes through the senses is and then passed on to manas, is sort of viewed from the storehouse, in a sense, from the experience that's present in the storehouse. So the mind consciousness does the discrimination, does the analyzing, and then it's like the mind consciousness does the work, the manas consciousness kind of takes the credit.
Okay.
Maybe.
Let me. Okay, that also good. But let's take. I think. Okay. So that this is the difference right here. The mind consciousness, when we're talking about the self, right? The ego, right? This is the rough one, and this is more subtle. This is very subtle. I am the best, right? I'm number one. No one can compare to me. I'm so proud of myself. This is the mind consciousness. Does that make sense? When we say that, they come from the mind consciousness. William, does that make sense to you?
I mean, the idea of me, of I, would come from the manas consciousness, but then the idea that I am the best is from the mind consciousness?
Yeah, this is the rough one. This is the rough one, not the subtle. I will tell you why. I tell you why. Because the information you get from here, you load into the short-term memory. The data in the memory become available for the following function: for thinking, for visualization, for planning, for analyzing, for whatever, right? Those come from the mind consciousness, because that is the time they distinguish. And those, based on that kind of data inside the memory, that's why the ego also right there. That means I am the best, right? No one can, I better than him. This is my design. I do things, I'm smarter than him. Right? Whatever those things come from here. But what about the ego or the self in here? Let's say that one day we walk on the street, right? And suddenly something from above, let's say that there's from the third floor, there an object drop in direction up on our head, right? Suddenly we have a feeling that there's something drop on our head, and we make a move to avoid the object. Do you think which one will be the one to make a move?
To make the move would be the mind consciousness.
Do you think the mind
think.
consciousness? Do you think the mind consciousness do that?
I would think so, yeah.
Okay, the mind consciousness, they use the data in the memory to process. That means it requires timing, right? That means when the mind works, it will take some time for the mind to work. It not work instantly. No. The mana consciousness is different because the mana consciousness do not have the short-term memory. When it happens instant. This is just like your instinct, right? When we make a move based on our instinct, not based on our thinking. This is based on our thinking, but this is based on our instinct. You see the difference between the two?
Yes.
Yeah, because when we make a move, we don't have time to think, right? That this is the one who make the move. Because why? Because they want to protect the self, right? They want to protect the self. The fight at the gate. That means the self. This is called the self delusion. You understand that, right? This is very powerful.
Yes.
Okay. The second one is when we still awake, right? That means we not sleep, right? This is the one fully active. Whatever we do, we walk, we think, we talk, we listen to the music, we see things. The mind always there, right? It's 24/7, right? It's always there. This one right here, it's not active, but it's a shadow of this guy. Okay, I think I let you read this one. I just create the teaching for the kids. I think this will be helpful for you to read it, and you will understand this thing better. Let me. I teach on a Saturday, so I think it's okay. Once you read this thing, you will understand what's going on here.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you saying when you're saying like the thought of I'm the best and all those kinds of thoughts, it's coming from the mind?
Yeah, from the mind.
Okay. So that to me sounds like ego.
Yeah,
and I thought ego came from the mana.
Right.
Does the ego not come from the mana?
No, ego comes from the mind. That's correct. But the cell, well, the cell comes from the mana. But I think it is very similar, right? Ego and cell is very similar, I guess, in a way.
Right. That's why I was thinking it came from the mana, not the mind.
No. The ego, that means I am the best. When you say that, we are using the data in the memory. We say it, right? When we be able to say it, that means we process the data inside the short-term memory. This is the mind. But the mana cannot do that. The mana only happens by instant. That means instantly it happens. They don't have a window for processing because there is no memory to process, right? Does it make sense, the difference between the two?
Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah, this is okay. I know it will be tough, a little bit tough, but okay, that's okay. All right. William, go ahead and read this one for me. I come up with a different model for reader and for memorization, and I will come up with the more different kind of okay, go ahead and read at the beginning and go from here.
When a student is trying to memorize vocabulary words for his or her spelling test, how does his or her mind process in the Buddhist view? When a student looks at words or stares at words, trying to memorize the words, his eyes only see those words without knowing the meaning of words, or the usage of the words, or distinguishing about words. This is a function of contact between the eyes and vocabulary words that creates the eye consciousness, which sends those words, objects, to the mind consciousness. At the same time, his or her ears listen to his or her own rehearsal of the sound. This is a function of contact between the ears and the sound that creates the ear consciousness, which sends those sounds, objects, to the mind consciousness through the nerves. The mind consciousness loads the words or sound objects into the short-term memory, and the information becomes available for the following functions: processing, visualization, thinking, contemplation, analysis, planning, etc. If the person only tries to memorize without triggering any of the above functions, then the mana, seventh consciousness, takes the data from the short-term memory and pushes it into the alaya consciousness for storage purposes. This will be the knowledge. However, if any of the above function arises from the mind consciousness, it will trigger the mana consciousness to send an inquiry to alaya consciousness for an inquiry and the inquiry's result. Once the alaya consciousness performs the inquiry and has a result, it then gives its results to mana consciousness, and the mana consciousness passes it to the mind consciousness. The mind consciousness then loads the search result into the short-term memory. Once the result is in the memory and the information becomes available for the following functions: processing, visualization, thinking, contemplation, analysis, planning, etc. The mind consciousness also informs the eye consciousness to be able to distinguish. Each time when mana consciousness pushes the same information into the alaya consciousness, just like it sketches or draws on the words to make them more visible in the alaya consciousness.
Does that make sense to you?
Mm-hmm.
This is how the mind works in Buddhism, right? So, let me go back here. Now let me talk about okay. This is the first difference between the mind consciousness and the mana consciousness. The second difference is when we sleep, right? When we in the deep sleep, right? Or when we in the deep meditation state, or when we are in the coma state, right? In the coma state, that means the person who are unconscious and enter into the coma state, right? Or when we go to the doctor, the dentist, and the dentist give us the anesthesia. Is that how you say it? Anesthesia.
Anesthesia.
Anesthesia. That
Anesthesia.
anesthesia. That put us into sleep, right? So what happened to the mind consciousness and what happened to the mana consciousness at that moment?
Oh, me? The mind consciousness is definitely not integrating information from the senses. And the mind conscious isn't performing any of its other actions. There's no intention to do anything. So there's no analyzing or thinking or deducing or visualizing or planning. There can be dreams. Like if we're in a really deep sleep, there's no dreams. But like slightly less deep sleep, we can have dreams. But that's perhaps not involving the mind consciousness. Maybe it's just between the mana and the alaya.
Okay. So what happened? Where the mind consciousness go? They have to go somewhere, right?
I don't know. It could just become kind of still. It could become inactive, but not necessarily depart.
Okay, all right.
Like our eyes won't go anywhere, but because we're unconscious from the anesthesia, we won't see, but our eyes are still there. So maybe
Yeah.
it's just that the mind isn't active, but it's still there.
Okay, okay. Let me. Okay. This is how the Buddhist the consciousness only work. So when we in that state, right, in the deep sleep state, or when we sleep, right, this one right here shut down, no more activity. Therefore, this one is also shut down too, right? There no more activity. And this one right here will be go in here. The manas consciousness also have another name for, they call the mind conscious shelter, the shelter. That means this will be the shelter for the mind consciousness. Okay. And you know what? During that thing, right? During the state of deep sleeping or what, the mana consciousness is very active at that moment. And remember one thing: the difference between the mind consciousness and the mana consciousness, because the mind consciousness have the short-term memory, but this guy does not have the short-term memory. That is the most important thing, very important. That's why the mana consciousness is not. It cannot be able. We cannot use the mana consciousness to analyze, to thinking, to visualize, because there is no memory. Right? Only when we process the data, we need to have memory, just like the device, right? The application on the iPhone, right? Or when we enter the data into the iPhone, they need to have the memory to load those data into the RAM, right? And that's how the application be able to process the data. So far, does it make sense so far?
Yes.
So, therefore, what happened is, yes, when we in the deep sleep, right, we could have a dream, right? Whatever we see in the dream, how do we get how the dream works? Because basically, this guy right here only talk to this guy. So this one will go to the Alaya consonant and get the data, and those data become the dream that we, whatever the activity we see in the dream. But when we wake up, right, do you think you can be able to remember everything in the dream?
No.
No. Why is that? Why we cannot remember?
Because the mind consciousness is not fully active during that time.
No, I know, no, but why the memory, why the mind constantly be able to retain the information, but not this guy?
You said that there's short-term memory in the mind consciousness, but that the manas consciousness doesn't have a short-term memory.
That's correct. That means whatever happened during that time, right? The data will not retain, because there is no short-term memory to retain the data. Therefore, when we wake up, right, we only remember very little, not too much. It's hardly for us to remember anything, because those things, it's not there. It's here. It's in here, but not here. Right?
Mm-hmm.
What happened to the person who in the coma state? You know what happened to them?
Isn't it similar to someone who, like during very deep sleep or under anesthesia, the same sort of idea where you said the mind is sheltering within the manas?
Yes, but not yes. Well, not yes and no. Actually, yes and no. You know why yes and no?
No.
Oh. Hemi, do you know why? Hemi?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. Okay. The person who in the deep sleep, they can be able to wake up. But the person in the coma state, can they be able to wake up by themselves?
No.
No. Why was that?
It's medically, it's generally not known unless there's, there could be some injury that caused it. But why some people wake up and why others don't, we don't know from a medical perspective.
Oh, no. I'm talking about in general. The person who in the sleep, right, they can be able to wake up because the mind consciousness have no injury. Does it make sense?
Mm-hmm.
That's why this one right here be able to help the mana consciousness to get out of the mana consciousness due to the mind consciousness. But the one who in the coma state, that means their memory, their mind consciousness no longer function well. They are very weak, or they have a lot of damage, right? They cannot be able to wake up. This is the one who make the wake up, not the mana. Because this one right here, they have the memory. They need to wake up. That means the data will be inside the memory. That is the time we wake up. This is the one to trigger the person to be able to escape from that state of mind. The coma or the deep sleep state, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think that how it works?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because the mind is very important. Even though they in here, right, for the shelter, but they still play a very important role. Very important role. So in this case, if the person in the coma state, in the Buddhist view, how do we help that kind of person to be able to overcome well, we don't know, we can help them to get out of the coma state or not, but can we do something to help them in the Buddhist view?
And in general, yeah, from the Buddhist view, it seems that we can do things to help people through doing meritorious actions and dedicating the merit to them, through praying to bodhisattvas, using the bodhisattvas mantras, focusing on their image, and using our intention to help, reciting sutras, if we have the intention for it to benefit a person.
Yeah, that's for the praying part, right? But what about the reality? How do we deal with the reality? Okay. So the mana content right here, they are very compared to the between the 6 and the 7. The mana content we call the delusion or the ignorance. But this one is very clever. This one is very clever. But this one is not clever because this one does not have the memory. This one do have memory to process the data. That's why it makes this one to become very clever of all of the 8 consciousness. This is the most clever one. And this is the number one in created karma, either good or bad. This is the decision maker. We do good or bad because this guy. And this guy will command the 5 senses, that means the body and the mouth, to do either good deed or bad deed. Yeah. Now, in the situation of if the person in the coma state, how do we help them? Basically, what we do is, in Buddhism, we try to, when we come to that person, we try to talk to them to understand to hopefully to help them to let go, right? To let go things. Do not hang on whatever they have. The more they hang on, that means the more the longer they will be in that state, very long time. Be due to attachment. Basically, the cell come from here. They attach to the all this thing here, the comets, seed right here. They attach to those things at the cell. The more they attach, the more they feel in that state very long time. For the whole purpose here, we want to make sure them to help them to detach by help them to understand. Um, uh, for example, we say that this world, okay, you are in this state, that means the coma state, and look like that you are come to maybe come to an end, and the worldly material and the world it no longer belong to you and have no meaning. So therefore, you should not attach to it. Even the body you have. This is the body comes from the five skandha or the five aggregates, the form, the feeling, the perception, all those things. It's not you. It's not you, and it's not your, and it's not what you are. Because this thing is come and go. That is the law of the nature. And you should let go even the family, right? The family matter, it no longer belong to you. So we actually help them to understand the situation because they do not understand they are in this situation. That's why we come and talk to them. Do you think that when we talk to them, they be able to hear us?
We did already say that the faculties are not active at that time,
Right?
so they shouldn't be able to hear based on that. If the faculties aren't active,
They're not be able to hear.
well, if you're speaking to them, clearly there's a sense that the expectation that they hear. But if the mind consciousness is withdrawn from the senses and sheltering in the manas, then it would seem that it wouldn't be, it's no longer engaged with the senses.
Don't you ever witness a person who in the coma state, and when you talk to them, you see the tear come from their eye?
Mm-mm.
Did you see that?
I haven't, no.
No, you haven't? I did witness that few times. And you know what? When you say something and you ask them that, can you be able to hear me? If yes, can you make something that I can see? They could move their finger a little bit. So actually, yes, they actually this thing right here, it's not totally shut down. Not totally shut down. It's just in the shelter, right? But it doesn't mean that we cannot communicate with the mind consciousness directly. That means this one is it's not active, but it's still there somehow to be able to connect, right? And we never know, right? We never know. Physically, it cannot, but spiritually, that means the vibration. When we're talking about this, in this situation, we're talking about the vibration. When you use your love and kindness and you come here and you try to help them to detach from what they have, and they can feel your energy. They can feel your energy. So the energy can bypass all the physical organ. They can bypass all the physical organ. They go directly to the mana consciousness. That's important. Because the mana consciousness later on, when the enlightened one become enlightened, right? The eight consciousness will transform into the four wisdom. And this eight consciousness here, we call equality, equality. And the three body, I think this one right here, this is the Dharma body, and this is the transformation body. Okay, anyway, so when we sincerely, we focus and we help them, they be able to overcome that. That's why we try to help them to detach from the world, from whatever they are still leans on, right? We try help them to no longer leans on that, and they could go very quickly. Because we don't want them in this situation for a long time. It will become the vegetative state, and that will be very suffering. And also in this case right here, when the person in the coma state, you know what? When you release the living being like the fish, that could help them to go quickly. But I don't know how to explain that in scientific. But it happened. It happened a few times. I don't know if that makes sense to you, William.
The very last part.
Yeah. When the person in the coma state, right? If we want them to go quickly, the one thing we can do is we can help on their behalf. We release the animal like the fish.
Oh yeah.
But we have to do in the bulk. In the bulk, that means a lot of because when we born in this human world, we have a lot of offensive karma, especially the killing. Do you know that? Because we still eat meat, right? We still eat meat. That is so. But when we release, that means we change the killing karma. If that means we try to make up whatever we have in the past, right? So hopefully that helps. But anyway, that's not easy to explain in the scientific way. Okay. All right. Let's go back to here. Let me try to. All right. That due to the ignorance, right? We pray karma. Due to the karma, either good or bad, right? This should belong to the past, right? And the ignorance is mean affliction. The mental formation is mean karma. So when the person, right? If I go back to here, when the person just passed away, right? The eight consciousness will leave the body, right? The number eight, that means Alaya consciousness leave the body. It will carry with them the power of the karma. And the power of the karma will create the body that will be one of the six paths. That means God, human, asura, animal, hungry ghost, or hell. So far, so good. And from this one right here, if let's say that the bottle is in the human realm, right? They will in order, okay, when we in the body state, the power of the karma will control us. We cannot do anything. We have been totally controlled by the karma, the power of our karma. Because karma, it means like habitual, right? Those habits will control us and become very powerful. And that's why when if the ones who still alive, that means the family, know how to pray for them, and you know what, they will be able to we can be able to calm them down, and then we can be able to help them to focus, right? That's important. And so when they reborn into the human realm, right? This will apply to all six paths, not only the karma, the consciousness. This is the current state of the consciousness, and the vow, right? The vow only for the one who practice the bodhisattva path. Okay. Usually for common people like us, this is the two. Will the two criteria to for us to be born, and we will. That means the body will see the parent in the condition of intercourse, right? Intercourse, and you know what? The body will have the crazy thought about craving, right? They will participate in that. If everything goes smoothly, that means either mother or the father or both, they do not have any kind of illness related for the pregnant, right? Then that means the Adaya conscience will be able to enter the mother womb. When they enter into the mother womb, every 7 days, the power of the karma wind will create the fitted body, the mind, the body and the mind. Okay, and you know what? During this, that means the Alaya will, when enter into the mother womb, right? It will depend on the father's sperm and the mother egg, right? And the combination of the three we establish the kalala. It's just like the solid milk. Okay, anyway. We talk about this in the bottles very much. We learned about it long time ago. Okay, during the 38 weeks of the fetus development, right? The power of the karma, and it's the letter A, okay, anyway. It creates the 5 energy, right? And that is, we call the name and the form. Name, it means the mental. Form, that means the physical body. And also it will create the 6th sense, right? That means the eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, the body, and the mind, right? And when the body is give birth, right? Give birth to the baby, then the baby, when they go out, right? They will interact with the outside world. That means we call contact, right? The 6th sense contact with the 6th sense object, we call contact, just like this. And the mind. The mind will be the phenomenon of all the image come from here. Okay. And due to the contact, we are feeling, right? And craving. Okay, let me go back to here. I think I go too quick. Okay, so basically in here, this is the past. The past life, the consciousness will enter and from the consciousness to the feeling. This is the current effect. And this is the past cause, the past life cause. And this is the current effect. That means the current life retribution. Okay. And from the consciousness to the feeling, this is also equally to the birth, aging, and death. And if we also look at the ignorant and the mental formation, it will also equally to let me see. It will be equally to the craving and attachment and becoming. Okay, attachment and craving will be similar to ignorance. But this is the fundamental ignorance, and this is just the range, the range of the ignorance. It's not the fundamental. Craving is just the range of the ignorance. That's why it's also referred to affliction. These two together is similar to the mental formation. Okay. Let's say that when we have the contact, right, from the sixth sense to the sixth sense object, we have a feeling, right? Due to the feeling, either joy, suffering, neither joy nor suffering, no feeling, we will have the craving. Craving doesn't mean that the thing we like include the thing we don't like. Craving for revenge, right? That's what we craving for revenge. That also we look at in that way. Due to the craving, we want to attach, we want to holding, we want to process, or we want to attach to the craving. And when we attach to the craving becomes so strong and so extreme. That means this is the time we will create the karma. This is what we call becoming. When we die, right? We will go to the same state right here. Where are we? Where are we? Okay, when we die, right? We go back to here. Let's see, we go to this thing here. Hold on. When we die, right? Then we will, the consciousness will left, the alaya consciousness will leave the body and carry with the power of the consciousness, power of karma, and the consciousness will enter the mother womb. This is what we call birth. And when we birth, we're given the mom given birth, right? They aging and death. So the cycle will be repeat over and over again. As long as we still have ignorance and craving, that the two make us in this cycle. Does this make sense to you? This is the current cause, and this is the future effect. Does it make sense to you, William?
Yes.
Okay. Today I do not have time. Okay. I think we over already. My goodness. You know what? Let's do the mantra together. I think we stopped the mantra too long. Before we do the mantra, let's okay. Okay. Any questions so far? Tammy, did you get it?
Yes, I'm understanding. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Okay, Thanh Thiện, go ahead now.
Yeah. May every living being among us one and radiant with light, share the fruit of peace with heart of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see how hands and hearts can find in giving unity, may their minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who so need the grief and pain. May this boundless light break the darkness of the endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise.
Good, thank you. All right.